Shalom, Kal Halal Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim HaKakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us its truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word and truth and its sincerity, the hopeful elect, Tabernacle of David. All right, so this lesson is going into what is left of Babylon, right? The fall of Babylon, and all they have left is their witchcraft, right? And that don't even work no more. All right. Going into World War III, as you can see, um, things are changing real quick. We woke up to the headlines of China encircling Taiwan. All right. Why? Because here, right, which is going to be in the World War III Daily Update, the next video I'm going to make, because this Russia-Ukraine thing is fizzling down. All right. In order to continue this theater, this show, Ukraine is going to have to try to go into Crimea, and that's going to constitute nuclear missiles. So they have to switch it up, right? Because the last thing that anybody wants to do right now is go into the Middle East, which that's the real theater. All right, what's going on in the Middle East? So the whole South China Sea thing is a diversion. The Eastern European thing with Russia and Ukraine, that's a diversion from what's really going on. What's really going on is the fighting going on in Israel, all right? In Israel proper, and then just outside with the Arabs and the Carmenians. That's the real, uh, that's the real battle, all right? And they're trying to obscure that. So anyway, a lot of good information in this video I'm about to pull up. Okay, what is it right here? Oh, no. Hold on. Salaki, we'll get it right now. Okay, so start right here at Isaiah 47. We're going to read it in the NIV, right? The fall of Babylon. Go down, sit in the dust, virgin daughter of Babylon. Who is that? This is talking about America. All right? The fall of America. Okay, sit on the ground without a throne. Okay, meaning you're not the only superpower. You're not the king of the earth anymore. Okay, and virgin daughter of Babylon. Let's talk about you Edomites. Okay, America represents Edom. All right, the Chaldeans. All right, sit on the ground without a throne, queen city of the Babylonians. Who is that? Queen city of the Babylonians. Talk about America. Okay, no more will you be called tender and delicate. Take millstones and grind flour. Take off your veil. Lift up your skirts. Bare your legs and wade through the streams. Your nakedness will be exposed. Right? And your shame uncovered. I will take vengeance. The Most High said He's going to take vengeance. I will spare no one. Talked about America, soon to be destroyed. Our Redeemer, the Lord Almighty is His name, Alashadja, okay? Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai is the Holy One of Israel. Sit in silence, go into darkness, queen city of the Babylonians. This is talking directly to the Americans, right? No more will you be called Queen of Kingdoms. I was angry with my people, Israel, and desecrated my inheritance. He laid us low. We're under the curses. We went into captivity, and so on and so forth. I gave them into your hand, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, speckled bird, and showed them no mercy. We have undergone our punishment. Now it's time to come out of the timeout corner. Even on the aged, you laid a very heavy yoke. You said, I am a queen for Salakia. You said, I am forever the eternal queen. But you did not consider these things or reflect on what might happen. Payback, retribution. Okay, recompense. Now then, listen, you lover of pleasure, lounging in your security, let's talk about America, and saying to yourself, I am, and there is none beside me. You trying to be like the Most High. I am. Okay? He is. I will never be a widow or suffer the loss of children. Both of these will overtake you in a moment on a single day. The loss of children and widowhood. They will come upon you in full measure, in spite of your many sorceries. This is what I'm getting to. Okay? They will come upon you in full measure, in spite of your many sorceries and all your potent spells. Right? Now, this is what they're doing right now. America's looking around and saying, uh-oh, nobody's with us anymore. These alliances that I've broken up in the Middle East and turned everybody against each other, they're coming back together. So let's send out some of our wizards and witches to go out and strengthen these spells, right? This sorcery and all your potent spell. They're going to give it their last ditch effort. You have trusted in your wickedness and have said, no one sees me. Your wisdom and knowledge misled you when you say to yourself, I am and there is none beside me. Disaster will come upon you and you will not know how to conjure. See these words? Sorceries, spells, okay? Conjure, right? You will not know how to conjure it away. A calamity will fall upon you that you cannot ward off with a ransom. A catastrophe you cannot foresee will suddenly come upon you. Keep on, then, with your magic spells and with your many sorceries, which you have labored at since childhood. Okay? We'll stop right there. All right? Okay, because it keeps going with the witchcraft and the sorcery. So let's look at some of that witchcraft and sorcery. Where did I get that? Salaki, bear with me. Uh, I'll get it right here. Let me see. Let's just get it here. All right, so this is your boy Gonzalo Lira, this guy. We're going to let him speak. And what is he going to speak on? Okay, the empire of chaos. Who could that be? Trying to sow more chaos. How? Witchcraft. Okay, America is going to send out its witches to do what? To try to enchant, right, other countries, right, to be against each other. Hey, you can't do this. You can't do that. Which is what they've been doing in the Middle East. How was the Amalekites, the Israelis, how were they able to go right into the Middle East with all those Arabs, take over that land, right, and make it their own, and hold on to it for years and years and years? You think them Arabs ain't mad? How they were able to do that is America, in its witchcraft, went around the whole region and turned everybody against each other and had them fighting against each other, right? They gave the Israelis a few bombs and some munitions and then backed them and said, we will come and bomb and strafe like whatever happened in the 6-Day War. We will protect these people, so you guys have to fight each other to keep you from coming together. Well, guess what? That's over now. And the witchcraft doesn't work anymore. Even though you're going to give it one stand now, right? Stand now. Where is that? I'd have to get it here. Stand now, 12. Stand now with thine enchantments and with a multitude of thy sorceries. Okay? Let's see if that works for you. All right? So let's let Gonzalo, this is 6 hours ago. And this is very, very, very important information, what he's going to say. This guy is putting together the whole scenario before your face. All right? He's very well spoken and well learned. Right? Chilean, I believe. Right? He's got like triple citizenship. He's got South American, Chile citizen, American citizen, and I believe he's a citizen in the Ukraine right now. So let's listen to this guy give his report. And remember that the entire subject he's talking about is witchcraft and how America has been able to keep countries from coming together by keeping them at odds with each other. Right?
Hey, how's it going? So, I'm interested in talking about American diplomatic efforts as of late. Because you might have heard that Emmanuel Macron and Ursula von der Leyen went to Beijing. They went by separate flights. It was pretty interesting because, see, there had been a long standing invitation on the part of Beijing for Emmanuel Macron to go to China. And so he took the opportunity to go.
Now he's talking about Macron is the French Prime Minister or President of France. Von der Leyen, I forget who she is. Is it Sweden? Von der. She might be Sweden. I'll check in a minute. Okay. These are these prime ministers. Why are they going to China right now? Okay. He's going to explain it. But really, what they're doing is they're seeking refuge, right? They're seeking refuge because they know what is about to happen in World War III. So they're trying to, secretly defect from the alliance they have with the West.
During this period in the Ukraine conflict, when things are going very, very badly for the West. And so he went, and Ursula decided that she was going to go too, like a tag-along kind of thing. And the Chinese, to the EU commissioner, right, they made her arrive at the normal arrival area for just some random tourist. I mean, she actually had to, hand in her passport and do her security check, which is just a grotesque insult to this woman. And insofar as Macron was concerned, Xi, welcomed him, diplomatically, politely, right, and listened to his bullshit. And, that happened just a few days ago. A few days ago also, Richard Burns, the former head of the CIA, flew out to Saudi Arabia, basically to chew out the Saudis for making peace with Iran, which quite clearly the Americans don't like peace breaking out in the Middle East, right? And then there's a third little data point whereby Anthony Blinken, who has been relentlessly trying to get in touch with the Chinese, and the Chinese are basically not taking his calls. Well, Anthony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, is flying to Hanoi in Vietnam, of all places. And, he's basically trying to stir up trouble between the Vietnamese and the Chinese.
Okay, so stir up trouble. What is he doing? Stirring up. Who stirs up? Boil, what is it? Bubble, toil and trouble, right? If I type that into a search, what is it going to come up? A witch at a cauldron making a potion. Stir up trouble. How do you stir up trouble? Okay, you put a spell, right? The Most High stirs up the Medes. What does he do? He controls the mind control. Okay, from a righteous standpoint. Okay, it's spiritual power, if you will. Witchcraft is spiritual power on the left-hand side. All right, and then you have spiritual power on the right-hand side. Most High hardened Pharaoh's heart. That's spiritual power on the right-hand side. Okay, so Ursula von der Leyen is she's a German politician and president of the European Commission. Okay, to be exact. So what is he saying? He said that Anthony Blinken went where? He went to Vietnam to do what? To stir them up. Okay, let's get that real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt this guy, but let's get stir up real quick. Salakia. Let's get stir up. Let's get, watch this. Bubble. 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 Look, see what comes up? Bubble, bubble. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. What is that? What is bubble, bubble, toil and trouble? When you're watching Bugs Bunny, right, and they got a witch, right, with a pointy hat on, she's sitting at a cauldron, which is a big old pot, and she's stirring up the pot, and she's adding eye of newt, a pinch of goat's hair, right? It's witchcraft. Let's see what comes up. Song of the witches. Okay, this is what it means. Now, when I hit images, let's see if we can find Bugs Bunny. Okay, see the cauldron? All right. They're stirring up. See what is she doing? She's stirring up trouble. Double, double toil and trouble. It's bubble, bubble. Is it bubble, bubble? This is what came up. So it's double. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Okay? The song of the witches. They're at that cauldron. Look. And what are they doing? They're stirring up what? Trouble. Double, double, toil and trouble. You stir that thing up. Understand? The Fed, look at that, that's good. Recession. Let's not blow another bubble. This is crazy. All right, so anyway, witchcraft. It's pretty obvious, okay? So witchcraft is what he's talking about. I'm gonna back it up. When he says Anthony Blinken, he's going to stir up.
The Americans don't like peace breaking out in the Middle East, right? And then there's a third little data point whereby Anthony Blinken, who has been relentlessly trying to get in touch with the Chinese, and the Chinese are basically not taking his calls. Well, Anthony Blinken, the US Secretary of State, is flying to Hanoi in Vietnam, of all places. And, he's basically trying to stir up trouble between...
Stir up trouble. Witchcraft. This is how they controlled the Middle East for so long. They turned all the Arabs against each other. They took the Saudi Arabians and said, look, we'll give you all this money for this oil, and we'll make this dollar, the petrodollar, and we'll do it. And it's all witchcraft. The American dollar is a talisman. Okay, what is a talisman? Do we got to go into the witchcraft involved in the U.S. dollar? It's all witchcraft, okay? And this is what they're doing. They're trying to, give their witchcraft, stand now with thine enchantment. The Most High said it's over, it's done. So it's all falling apart. And this guy is breaking it down, but he's not using the terms witchcraft like we are, all right? This is left-hand spiritual power coming to an end.
Vietnamese and the Chinese. Macron went to China to convince the Chinese not to be friends with the Russians.
Witchcraft.
Right? And Burns flew to Riyadh to convince Mohammed bin Salman to not make nice with the Iranians.
Witchcraft.
There's a pattern developing here, see? The West, what are they doing? They're trying to sow division. That's what they're doing. They're doing it in China. They're doing it, between the Chinese and the Russians. Blinken is going to go next week to Vietnam to sow division between Vietnam and China. Burns went to Saudi Arabia to sow division between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Huh? And what does this all tell you? That diplomatically, the United States is just thrashing around and trying to create chaos any way that it can. It's not trying to build bridges. Now, think of it like on a human level. Imagine you have some, uncle who goes around in your family trying to turn people against one another, right?
Witchcraft.
To turn your parents against one another, to turn you against one of your cousins or whatever. I mean, how are you going to view that uncle? That uncle, let's call him Sam. How are you going to view this Uncle Sam, who's just trying to sow divisions and make everybody's life miserable because he believes that he stands to gain from this? You think that the other people in your family are not going to realize what's going on? You think the other people in the family aren't going to say to themselves, hey, this guy's just a troublemaker? You think the other people in your family are going to say, oh yeah, Uncle Sam, let's not invite him over for Thanksgiving dinner? No, what do you say? It's just an idea. What do you all say? You see my point. Because ultimately, diplomatic efforts are always about people. The people who are interacting, the diplomats. That's why it's so important to pick your diplomats very, very carefully. You want people who are conciliatory, who build bridges, not who sow division. But the entire American diplomatic corps, it seems, at least the senior people, and yes, I know that Emmanuel Macron is not a U.S. citizen or a U.S. diplomat, but he's functioning as one, and so is Ursula von der Leyen. So, you see my point? But anyway, diplomats are supposed to bring people together to iron out their differences. But the United States is just trying to spread chaos. And the rest of the world is wising up to this.
Order out of chaos is witchcraft. Okay? And that's how these witches, these warlocks, that's how they get out. What are they out doing? They're giving it their last ditch effort because witchcraft on the left-hand side is now being exposed and it's losing its power. And therefore, who loses power? The whore that sitteth on top of the beast. Okay.
I mean, that old saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, right? The rest of the world is understanding that the United States is an agent of chaos. They also recognize that all of these diplomatic efforts are efforts made out of a position of weakness. You don't try to divide and conquer when you're strong. You don't have that need. The Americans are doing it. Now, what does this mean? It means that very quickly, the West is going to be even further isolated. And when I speak of the West, I'm talking about the global American empire that encompasses Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and Europe. And let's not kid ourselves. That's the global American empire. And it's a global American empire led by a cosmopolitan class that cares nothing for the people of Europe, the people of North America, or the people of Oceania. They are people who are hell-bent for leather on causing as much division, as much chaos as possible, because they see their position as slippy. They see that the global American hegemon is no longer the undisputed global power. In fact, it's starting to appear that it's very much a case of the emperor's new clothes. That all the economic power and military power that the global American empire wielded in the past is kind of like gone. They can't scrounge up, artillery shells for the conflict here in Ukraine. So what does that tell you? Or more importantly, what does it tell all the countries in the rest of the world? It tells the countries in the rest of the world two things. Number one, the Americans just want to cause chaos because their positions is deteriorating, number one. And number two, they're looking at the Eurasian alliance between Russia and China. And they see how the Russians are bringing the Turks and the Syrians together, how the Chinese are putting the Iranians and the Saudis together, how the Chinese are trying to export prosperity to their region in Asia and also to other non aligned nations in Africa, in South America, and Central America. They see that and they want to do less and less. They want to have less and less of a relationship with the United States. They want to detach themselves even further. And this goes to the issue I discussed a couple of days ago about the de-dollarization going on around the world. The rest of the world understands perfectly well that the American economic system has them by the short hairs. And so, as they see the United States diplomatic efforts being more towards dividing people and creating enmity where none existed before,
That's called witchcraft.
they're going to start to say, hey, we don't want to be allied to those people and we want to de-dollarize because, as I mentioned in that previous video post, the United States on a whim can decide to cut you off from their economic system, which can wreak havoc on your economic system. So you want to get away from the dollar and get into the yuan, the rupee, the ruble, if only for self-preservation, because you know that the Eurasian alliance of Russia and China, they're stable. They're not going to be capricious. If they have a problem with you, you'll know about it long before anything really important or serious happens to your economy. They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you if they have a problem with you, they'll reach out to you diplomatically and try to smooth things out long before the issue that they might have with you becomes an actual problem. Whereas the Americans go from 0 to 11 at the drop of a hat. You decide to pass some very reasonable law that you don't want your children to be indoctrinated with all kinds of sexual decadence, right? And you are on the good list of the Americans, but you try to pass this very simple and straightforward law that the vast majority of your people are totally in favor of, and all of a sudden they start talking sanctions. They start talking about stealing your sovereign wealth fund. They start creating, reaching out to the most destructive elements within your civil society to overthrow your government.
Regime change.
The rest of the world isn't stupid. The United States, as I've said a number of times, is going down the tubes. What's remarkable is how quickly it's all falling apart.
Like lightning.
And right now, they are relying on their tried and true method of sowing chaos and division where none previously existed.
Witchcraft.
Pretty soon, you're going to have them going from just, trying to do these diplomatic efforts at cleaving and dividing people into just outright sanctioning them. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The next target on the Americans' list is Saudi Arabia. They're going to start making moves against Saudi Arabia with some color revolution, perhaps, or perhaps with something a lot more violent and immediate. You wait. That's what's coming. Understand what's going on.
Okay, so I'm going to get one scripture on the way out to try to keep this short. Understand this, what's going on, okay? Saudi Arabia and the United States were joined together at the hip for years and years and years and years, which is what allowed all of this shit to thrive, the dollar, okay, for as long as it did, all right? Meaning this, the Saudis and the Americans were allies, okay? Obed 1. Let's get Obadiah. We'll get one scripture. Well, let me say Obed. O-E-A-D-I-H. Obadiah 1. Let's get the KJV. No, let's go straight to 7, okay? Because it won't read as true. I mean, it's true, but I mean, sometimes you got to break it all the way down for Jake. Okay? Obadiah 1 and 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Who's that? Saudi Arabia, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Let's read it up here in the NIV. All your allies, Saudi Arabia, will force you to the border. Get the hell out. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. Van der Leyen went to China. For what? To seek refuge. They know what's about to happen. Germany went to China. France went to China for what? To say don't do this, don't do this. No, they went to say, hey, not me. I'm with you. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you. Who's setting a trap? Germany went to China. Yeah? France went to China to talk to Xi. But you will not detect it. Oh no, they went to break shit up and to use that witchcraft like I told them to. In NLT, all your allies will turn against you. What does that mean? That means that Germany went over there to do what? Right? At the highest level, went over there to join forces with China. Right? France, who's at war with itself right now, right? And fallen quick, went to do what? They went to join hands with the Chinese under the guise of, oh, well, we're going over there to tell them you have to stop Vlad from doing what he's doing. And no, that's not what they went over there for. Them fools are shaking hands and making deals over there. They will help to chase you from your land. Uh-oh. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you and you won't even know about it. What is China doing right now? What are the headlines today? Let's look at the preppers. Okay. Here's Travis, Prepared Homestead. Is China about to invade Taiwan? Why? Because they encircled Taiwan right now. This is full spectrum with Skeletor. This is today. Okay? These came out an hour ago. Red alert. China is taking Taiwan. What's going on here? Closing in on World War III. Right? What is going on here? Okay. Well, it's quite clear that, let's go back here. Obadiah. That your witchcraft is not working anymore. Okay? Your witchcraft is not working. All right? I'm going to read on from here. Zobadiah 1 and 8. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? The wise men are who? The witches, the warlocks. Okay? Stargazers. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Right? The mightiest warriors of Teman will be terrified, and everyone on the mountains of Edom will be cut down. So America's not going to win. Okay? Go one back. Okay? The wise men, not a single wise person. The Chaldeans. Right? So it's going down. Okay? It's going down right now. All right? It's looking bad for Babylon the Great because they jumping ship right now. Okay? All of your allies, the men allied with you, right? Your confederacy, the people that, you made a deal with, the ones you have a covenant with, right? The ones you have a treaty with. What treaty? NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. They're flipping, all right? The 10 toes. Some are weak and some are strong. Treaty. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization. See how you read the Bible? Uh-oh, this thing froze up. It's a lock in. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and end it right there. We hope that the elect edify you, brothers and sisters, with that shalom.